I would like to show you one more example in which the united efforts of the pieces are overcoming the queen, especially in that case that we are about to see, where the queen wasn't active at all. It stayed in its camp forever till the end of the game, and therefore the pieces prevailed. If you have pieces like Pickett had in this position against Mirin from their game in Leon 2001 on nice beautiful outposts, especially knights, it makes sense for you to trade the queen, and the position, by the way, is semi-closed, which is also very important. Then it's a good idea to trade the queen for a bishop, a rook and a pawn, especially like it happened here, because white is taking the open file as well, and he is finding ways to break into the opponent's camp. So first of all, Pickett goes queen a4, intending to go bishop a6 and to improve his position on the queen's flank. And Smirin tried to stop him tactically with the move a6, underestimating the fact that white can actually sacrifice the queen with bishop takes a6. After rook a8, bishop b7, rook takes a4, knight takes a4, knight a5 was played. It becomes obvious that white has actually profited from this trade. Now his rook on the c-file is dominating, and his pieces are getting a better they're getting better chances to attack the opponent's pawn on d5, so he has increased his advantage. By the way, instead of knight a5, if black tries to trap the bishop with knight b8, he won't be succeeding in doing that, because there is knight c3 and all the white pieces attacking the pawn on d5. And that's one of the ideas behind trading the queen for so many little parts. The little parts attacking the pawn on d5, and black doesn't have sufficient defense. After knight a5, bishop a6, the bishop is controlling the c8 square, and white intends to double the rooks, and after that to penetrate along the 7th rank with the heavy pieces. Black found nothing better but to play rook a8, bishop b5, and then to jump with the knight on c4. Note that the move rook c8 is not really preventing the penetration along the c-file, because after rook c8, knight c8, there is rook c1, and no matter what black is doing, this rook is still coming on c7, making use of the fabulous position of the knight on f4. Black cannot take the rook because of knight e6 fork. If he cannot take the rook, then the rook will continue to bother black. It will come further on d7. That will be the end of the game for the second player. So therefore knight c4. This is setting a small trap. White cannot really win the pawn like that with knight d5, because after knight d5, rook takes c4, there is rook a5, and there are too many white pieces hanging. But white is not in a hurry. He can prepare these things. He plays rook c2, which was part of his plan anyway, to double the rooks. h6, intending some counterplay on the king's side. Knight c3. Now the pawn is really hanging. White wants to take it many times and then to take the knight on c4. Knight a5, b4, and the small parts are moving. Knight c4 this time would be answered knight c to d5, and after knight d5, knight d5, knight takes a3, there is check, and black is losing after rook d7. For instance, queen b8, rook a1, a strong move, and suddenly the small pieces are delivering checkmate, like it is in this line, where the knight and the rook are better than the queen. They're just delivering checkmate. Black has nothing else but to sacrifice the queen with queen a7, but then of course he's losing with an extra pawn for white. And what happened in the game was that after the move b4, black retreated the knight on b7. And now the easiest win for the second player would have been to go bishop e2, intending knight b5. That would be the consistent follow-up of white's plan. After knight b5, white is going to double the rooks, and then little by little to infiltrate black's position. That would be the logical end of the game. We see that in this case the queen, even though it is so mighty, can do absolutely nothing, and it remained there in the camp for the whole game. She completely missed the party. Well, what happened in the game was that white hurried a bit. He took on d5. He actually spoiled the win here. After this check, if black has found the correct king h8, he could have saved himself, but okay, he chose king f6, and the logics at the end prevailed. After bishop c4, black resigned as there is no defense against rook f7, checkmate. So remember, if the position is semi-closed, if there are not too many squares for the queen, if the queen cannot show activity, it makes sense to trade yours for smaller parts, because the smaller parts, like we have seen already with the queen versus 3 light pieces, the smaller parts can create united threats against the enemy pawns.